The safety of South Africans is in jeopardy. At least Mkhwanazi still has a firearm. He still has a men and women that he works with. He can still somehow protect himself. There are men and women out there that are vulnerable. They've got no one to protect.
Musical coming out, you can see.
In November 2022, when the Ndimande brothers allegedly gunned down taxi owner William Kunene at a mall in Durban, which was caught in this video, they allegedly killed another taxi owner in cold blood 3 months later, this in Berea, also in Durban. Siyabonga Ngcobo was traveling with his wife Zamokuhle Mkhwanazi-Ngcobo. They also opened fire at her. She tried to flee, but the ruthless Inkabi shot at her car multiple times as she drove off. As they drove after her, they allegedly skipped a robot and knocked a pedestrian with their car. This was only a month after they allegedly shot and killed AKA and his former manager Tibz Motsoane. This is the story of how the Ndimande brothers, South Africa's most notorious Inkabi, were finally nailed by General Mkhwanazi and his team. And now they're back in the country to face the music.
What I'm informed is still coming. If there's no objection from my colleagues, I would request that we proceed as soon as it arrives.
Welcome back to True Crime Julia. My name would be Julia. On this channel, we look into true crime cases that have happened in South Africa. Yesterday, we did a story after the Ndimande brothers were extradited to South Africa from the Kingdom of Eswatini. In that episode, we looked at the assassination of William Kunene, a taxi owner in Amazimtoti in KwaZulu-Natal. On today's episode, we want to tell the story of another taxi owner, Siyabonga Ngcobo, and his wife Zamokuhle Mkhwanazi-Ngcobo, who were also shot in Durban, allegedly by the Ndimande brothers. This is to shine a spotlight on how deep the case against the Ndimande brothers is. And just a quick disclaimer, this entire report is based on allegations. So let us get into the story.
And now that they are eventually here, at least we can see the next phase of the administration of justice unfolding. So hopefully it's going to be in the favor of the state until the end.
It began with a feud over taxi routes. In 2022, popular taxi owner William Kunene was at a mall. Witnesses say he was just walking to his car when a group of men appeared from nowhere. Gunfire erupted. Bullets tore through the air. Kunene fell to the ground, but one of the hitmen, he turned back and fired again just to make sure that Kunene was dead. Police would later discover that his attack wasn't random. Kunene had recently taken over a taxi route that once belonged to the Ndimande family, and the hit, investigators believe, was ordered, carefully planned by Siyabonga Ndimande, known on the streets as Ngcele.
We have obtained a J50 warrant of arrest on the three matters. The murder of the taxi boss that happened in 2022 in Amazimtoti, the murder of AKA and Tibz.
The KwaZulu-Natal police, led by General Mkhwanazi, vowed to stop the bloodshed. He promised the people of KZN that no criminal, no matter how powerful, would escape justice. Months passed, then another taxi-related shooting. On March 6, 2023, gunfire again echoed through Durban's busy streets. Taxi owner Siyabonga Ngcobo, a member of the Lamontville Taxi Association, was gunned down while sitting in a grey Land Rover at a traffic light. His wife, Zamokuhle Mkhwanazi-Ngcobo, was behind the wheel when the attack happened. She tried to escape, drive as fast as she could, speeding through traffic as bullets shattered her windows. But it was too late. By the time she stopped, she realized that her husband Siyabonga was hit multiple times, and he unfortunately passed on at an engine garage in Umbilo.
Tibz, as well as the attempted murder of the wife of the taxi boss. And what is interesting is that we do believe that one of the two brothers that we are extraditing today from Eswatini is maybe one of them that actually pulled the trigger.
Zamokuhle would survive that attempted murder, but the trauma of the day would haunt her forever. Police traced the hit to a stolen Mercedes-Benz taken just months earlier in January 2023. The car hijacking victim, Sizwe Ndimande, had been assaulted. kidnapped in his own car, and then dumped on the highway. His car was the one that was later used in Siyabonga's murder. The accused, two familiar names, Siyanda Mkhwanazi and Lindani Zenzele Ndimande, both later linked to AKA and Tibz's murder. While the details of that killing remain under wraps, investigators confirmed that the same guns and getaway tactics appeared again and again across multiple cases in the province. The picture was becoming clear. A coordinated criminal network crossing taxi territories and eventually moving into the far more high-profile assassinations.
There are men and women out there that are vulnerable. They've got no one to protect. So we can't be worried about our own safety. We must worry about the safety of the citizens. So ours is to go out there and lay our life to protect them. That is my only concern right now. Not about my safety. You know, everyone shall die. The time will come. If it comes, it comes. But if an enemy comes to you, attack the enemy. Don't allow the enemy to take advantage. You can't just lie with your arms in your hands like that. You have to fight. So that's what we are doing now in KZN, and we shall fight. And this fight is very big, so it needs people who are committed.
After AK and Tibz's murder on Friday night, 10 February 2023, piece by piece, the police began to connect the dots. The same men linked to the taxi murders, the Ndimande brothers, Mkhwanazi and Lindani Ndimande, were tied to the rapper's assassination. Investigators said Siyabonga Ndimande coordinates the firearms and getaway cars, while Malusi and Ndimande was one of the alleged shooters. A well-coordinated syndicate of contract killers. In April 2023, the first suspect is arrested in Cape Town. By the end of the year, police had captured several members of the hit squad across South Africa, but two key suspects, the Ndimande brothers, had fled to the kingdom of Eswatini.
There's a total of 6 suspects that have been arrested and detained in connection with the murder of the two individuals, Mr. Kunene, also known as AKA, as well as Mr. Motsoane, who is also known as Tibz. The incident that happened on the 10th of February in Florida, here in Durban. These 6, they played different roles during the operation. We have a coordinator who's basically the master of everything, is in custody. We have 2 shooters that you also on social media. We have 2 spotters that were one of the spotters was inside the restaurant observing and watching Mr. Forbes and his friends, as well as the organizer of firearms and vehicles, because the vehicle used as a getaway, firearms that were used to shoot, they all hired. The spotter initially followed Mr. Forbes from the airport on arrival, all the way to the hotel, as well as to the restaurant where the incident happened.
For almost 2 years, they hid in a rented house in Mbabane, living under false names. Until in February 2024, when the Kingdom of Eswatini's police, working with South African authorities, raided the hideout, the brothers were arrested and began a long legal battle to avoid coming back to South Africa. But in November 2025, justice caught up with them. They were handed over to South African authorities, flown back to Durban to face trial for multiple murders, attempted murders, and illegal possession of firearms. When the Ndimande brothers appeared in court, the atmosphere was tense, but for them, it was all happiness, all smiles, nothing serious. They are charged with the murder of William Kunene. Siyabonga faces conspiracy to murder Siyabonga Ngcobo and attempted murder of Zamokuhle Mkhwanazi-Ngcobo. Both cases are now postponed to November 25th, 2025. This as the state prepares to bring every piece of evidence to court.
Interpol, SAPS is part of the Interpol. The SAP's job is to secure the attendance of the people, the suspects, before court. So through the collaboration we have with the colleagues at Eswatini, we're able to secure the attendance in court at Eswatini. And the same happened when they had to move from the Eswatini court to come here. We provided that security and transportation for them to move from that side and come over here. But the administration process in terms of removing those individuals from the other country, in this case Eswatini, to South Africa, that is a process that is handled by the NPA, not us. So the SAPS job was to present evidence to the NPA and say we were able to secure the suspects, but unfortunately they are not in the country, they are at Eswatini, and they've been secured, and here is the case number that they are arrested on, and here is the facility where they are kept. And then the NPA started the administration process, which took that long for it to be finalized. They contacted us, the DPP, last week when they told us that everything is finalized at Eswatini, so we must make arrangement to bring them over.
And earlier on in the day, as the country watched the intense process of extraditing the brothers, Mkhwanazi explains how and why it happened the way that it did.
I don't want to sound political, but we've been preaching this all the time, that the cost of taking someone through the justice system is that expensive in relation to what we spend on a victim. As you can imagine, the court directs that human rights must be present when these people are moved so that they can ensure their safety, that their human rights are protected. So we had to make provisions for that when we were moving them. The aircraft that we're using is a police aircraft. We acquire such resources for operations of this nature. It might be seen as if it's a jet for luxury use, but we've seen it today. That's not for luxury use. That's an operational aircraft for operations like this. So we had to use that. The cost of flying the jet from Pretoria to Eswatini, pick them up and come back here, it's that much. But because of also the threat associated with the two that we brought in, these are amongst them the actual shooter of the famous musician. So you can imagine there are many people that might not want them alive in order to try and kill the case. So we had to deploy every possible means to make sure that they arrive here safe so they can appear before court.
Thank you so much for watching this video. What are your thoughts on this case? Did you know the Ndimande brothers before AKA and Tibz's shooting? And what do you think about the work of the police so far? I would like to know your views. Let's talk. Please stay safe. I will see you on the next one.